Hey guys, I'll be doing another video on my Eagle Talon today, but today I'll be changing my top mount intercooler piping. I'm still waiting to do some other things to actually install my new turbo. When I was taking off the manifold, before I even got to the screw or the bolt itself, I could just pull it out, and that's this one in here. You can see that down in here, and I personally don't own a MIG welder or a TIG welder or any kind of welder in sort of mine, so I'm actually going to get my father-in-law over here to help me weld a bead on it and weld a nut so we can pull out the stud. And to my pump yet, after I installed it, the new pump is in. I still got to put the line on, but what happened when I tried to put the line on back on after installing the new fuel pump is the line just ripped right off. So I need to get a new line, which I'm lucky enough to already have stainless steel braided lines, like I showed you guys in the last video, that I have line all right here with 6 AN fittings already. So I was already down there, the lines are stuck, they won't come off, so I WD-40'd it, and having to leave for a day or two, let the WD-40 do its thing before I can get to the lines themselves to see if they will actually come off, so I can change the new line, put that all back together, put my fuel pump back together, and put my seat back in. I ended up getting the old brake line off and measuring it with some of this braided black fuel line that I have here, and I've already started to make the new one. And you got to tape the ends so the metal doesn't flare up, and then basically you would just put it back into your vise, and you would twist the new flare fitting on, AN fitting on, and I can show you that in a second here. You would take your AN fitting that you have here, disconnect the two, and you would take your line, and ideally you would take this and put that in there until it feels flush. I'm gonna have to do this two-handed, so I won't be recording it, but I'll show you when I have it on and in my clamp. After you have the fitting well jammed in there and no gaps, you can take your fitting and grab the other piece and start threading it in the hole. Just like that. And then once you start feeling tension on it, you'll have to take two ratchets, or not ratchets, two wrenches. I don't have the right size on me directly. I'm just going to be using channel locks. I don't care if they get scratched up because it's going underneath my car. And you would just take it and keep threading it in. And you thread this in till it's butt up against this. And then you can take it after you're done and grab both ends and pull on it and see if it comes out, just to make sure you have a secured line on it. I will show you when I'm done hooking this up to show you what the end result of this pipe will be, or this fuel line will be. Once that line is done, it should look like this, where it doesn't come out. And then this will be your new fuel line that you'll be using to change out the old rubber hosing. Because I have the new line in, I threaded it now onto the fuel pump here and ran it down. And with it ran down to the old flare fitting, it connects just like that. Meantime, what I'm going to be doing is changing my intercooler piping. I still haven't got, we're going to have to go and take off that clamp, those bolts there, because I have a new intake, or part for the intake. All these clamps down here to take off the blow-off valve itself, and you're gonna have to take off your passenger's tire, front passenger tire, to access your cover right here, so you can actually access the intercooler piping, or the intercooler itself, to get to the piping clamp, because there is another clamp down in here that you cannot access unless you actually take off the cover in front of the wheel. So I'll be doing that, and I'll show you when I'm done. I've had to move the intake, which are both two clamps that are 5/16. I had to move the fuse box itself, which are both 10 mils. And then I found two sneaky bolts to take off the piece of upper intercooler. Let me see if I can get a flashlight. I'll use my drill. I don't have a flashlight. I've been using my phone. So there are two sneaky bolts right down there, if my phone will focus. Right there. There's 2 bolts down there that also hold on the intercooler piping. So once you have those screws out in the bottom, your blow off disconnected, your tire off, you can go and access the panel here. Once you get all that, you can take these screws out. I already have them loosened. You can just grab on this, just pry on it, and then you can access your intercooler with another 5/16 clamp. Once you disconnected the clamp, you can now move your wires over the intercooler and pull it out. So I've now removed the old intake, like I said before, and then I've installed the new one. Once you have the new intercooler piping all installed, you can attack the throttle body. You can see right here, there's a nut. On the other side, there's one bolt. There's another bolt down below and another nut down there. Once you have that off, you can go and get your new pieces on. Once you have all the nuts and bolts off, you should just be able to grab it and pull it off. After you pull it off, you grab the gasket. And there is your throttle body. Got it all hooked up, got it ready to go. You can now take your bolts, slip your bolts back in your hole, and then do the same thing for the nuts, and tighten those bad guys back up there and slip them on. And there you go. Make sure all these bolts are starting to thread before you tighten them up. And then just tighten everything up. Tighten your clamps down, tighten your bolts down, make sure this piping's tight, make sure you have your intercooler blow-off valve piping will connect to it, make sure there's a gasket in here, make sure you put your gasket in here. What I did is I cleaned the carburetor itself, and I cleaned the gasket, and then I put it on, make sure all the surfaces are clean with some brake cleaner, and then make sure that all these are connected properly, and then you should be good. Once they're all done, it should look like this. You should have the intercooler all put in, the upper intake all bolted back up properly. You should have the intercooler piece like this with the piping, and then you should have your fuse box back where it should be. And then depending if we already have an aftermarket blow-off valve or if you found a way to make it work, you should have your blow-off valve connected already too. Like I said, mine doesn't work, so I will need to go get a new blow-off valve to make this ideally work in my favor. And that's basically the video of how to install an intercooler piping. Like I said, I have lots more to do. I have to get my turbo on and stuff like that. I do have my turbo with my headers over here that I will be putting on after I get that stud out from the headers. And then once I have that done, I will be going on to the next next project onto the car. That will be the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.